This seems to be a common sentiment among men. They are confused as to why women would marry men and then want them to change. Let's talk about it. First of all, I don't know what planet you live on. I live on Earth. And on this planet, things just fucking change all the time. I don't even want them to, but they do. And as a human being, even as an individual moving about my life, I have to evolve, change, and grow as a human being just to adapt to the changes that happen. And this is needing to be true in relationships. When you have two people moving through the world, the changes that occurred to them, they necessitate the growth of those two people. And if one person is growing and changing, adapting to the realities of life, and the other person is staying stagnant, the stagnant person becomes a dead weight. So change isn't something women are demanding. Change is just something that happens, and growth is required to be a human being on planet Earth. Secondly, there's a way in which my husband specifically changed after we got married. I didn't, he did. And that change is a little bit insidious, and I don't believe he meant it as malicious. But it became very clear to me that my husband, after we got married, he no longer experienced my love and affection. He felt entitled to consume it. This is a pattern I see repeated in straight romantic partnerships all the time. And I think it's a message that men are getting subliminally from society, that they feel entitled to consume the utility of women in their lives, specifically their romantic and closest partners. When I began to struggle in our marriage, I looked around. I believed my husband to be a good-willed human being, but I looked around at the way he treated everyone else, and it was different than the way he treated me. He was specifically treating me in a way that was in a way he would never treat another person. And he certainly didn't treat me that way before I became his wife. But after I was his wife, he felt okay with consuming my intelligence, my time, my utility, my body, and not being with me as a person, but consuming me as a person. So, sir, it's not women that are changing after marriage. It's women that are waking up to the fact that the men they feel most loved and connected to are content to consume them. And honestly, it's a gut-wrenching punch when you figure it out. Hi there. I think you fundamentally misunderstand what I asked of my husband in our marriage. I never asked him to change. What I asked him to do was mind the gap. If you've ever been to a subway platform in New York City, a platform and the actual subway have this 6-inch gap. And if you were to fall in it, you would actually get very hurt or possibly even die. So there's all these signs on the ground to mind the gap. You see, in my marriage, as it went on, I had the painful realization that my husband didn't actually love me. He just liked the idea of me. Well, maybe for the most part, liked the idea of me. And he didn't love the humanity of me, the full being of me. He just liked the way I made him feel. As a result, he actually hadn't done the work of seeing me. And to his credit, I know that I don't think I fully communicated who I was either. That's on me for sure. The way this impacted our relationship, though, was that often the two of us, when you can see the gap accurately, when two people can see that well, you hopefully kind of come to the middle and you both do the work of bridging that gap. But in our case, since he didn't see me, it was most often me bridging the gap between us. After doing that work mostly alone for years, I became exhausted and tired and actually burnt out. Though at no point did I think he was malicious for loving me this way. I think for the most part, people just love the way they've been loved and they repeat the patterns that feel most comfortable. I don't think this was an intentional choice for him to sort of miss me in this way. I think it's just something that he leaned into because this was familiar. So in our relationship, I did not ask him to change. I asked him to see me. And then once he could fully see me, we would decide together how we wanted to bridge that gap. In this time, we continue to ask questions like, can we bridge this gap well? Can we bridge this gap and stay healthy? Can we bridge this gap and thrive? Will bridging this gap between us break us in any way? We both remain patient and open as the answers to those questions reveal themselves. And most importantly, we remain completely committed to one another's thriving, and whatever that means. Now that we're both seeing each other more fully, we're learning how to better navigate the gap, which has meant changes for both of us.